Hello, so we're going to go through the next patch in this Bella Donna Patch book. This is Heavy Church. I think people will find this pretty useful, this one. So let's match the knobs. I'm just going to match rate, although this one doesn't necessarily ask for you to use the arpeggiator. Let's see. And cutoff is high again. And we're using sawtooth again. 32 feet. And 8 feet. And this one is going to be supposed to tune to a fifth. So you have to remember everybody's frequency knob on this second oscillator is a little different. So we're going to have to tune this by ear. We're using our square wave on this side and our sawtooth on that side. Everything's up. And then we're going to set these knobs. I know what this is about. There's our filter settings, about 3 o'clock. We're going to go longer attack, long release, sort of mid-range sustain. I got to watch my volume and your ears. Okay, so there's two things going on in this patch. The first one is pulse width modulation on the first oscillator. So we're going to take our wave out to the attenuator, and from the attenuator back into pulse width modulation over here. So we can probably hear the result already. Nice, let's tune it a little bit. I'm going to go up an octave higher. Okay, so you hear, on the drawing here, it shows like straight up 9 o'clock, but mine is definitely not 9 o'clock to get that tuning. And this is the sound you're looking for, is that harder fifths, not a minor sixth, which is what I started with. You can hear the pulse width modulation happening. We can, change it with the attenuator here. We're turning it upside down a little bit right now. Okay. Then the next thing to learn from this patch is distortion. So what we're going to do is we're going to take the mix output, put it in the high pass filter, and bring it back around into the noise input. So we've canceled noise. There's no more noise here. So what's happening is we're doubling up everything. We're coming out of the oscillators into this high pass filter to remove some of the low end, and then we're going back in. So I think it's about 2 o'clock or so. This is considered unity. Anything past here is distortion. So we've doubled our distortion basically. And then what you're going to see is the high pass actually controls how much harmonics are getting through, and then the noise becomes the volume of the distortion. I'm going to set up a little bit of a arpeggiator. Alright, so now I'm going to turn up the noise. So you hear all those harmonics coming through. And as we move the high pass, you'll hear. So then as an experiment, we can pull out different oscillators and just kind of see what's happening. So you hear, like, we're controlling harmonic structure a little bit here with the two oscillators because we're, feeding everything back anyway. So play with these volumes to see kind of what combination gets you what you're looking for. And then lastly, we have modulation to include, so that's going to change the cutoff here. So then what I'm doing is just kind of playing around with like amounts of stuff. So how much cutoff are we modulating? How are we mixing the oscillators? Blah, blah, blah. We might even move the high pass. Let's just see what happens. So there's moving the high pass. So I hope you learned something useful. Big takeaways: pulse width modulation, always cool. This mixer trick is really my big takeaway. Is like, oh yeah, we can feed everything back into the noise oscillator and remove the noise and get crazy feedback and distortion. So I hope you play around with that.